Erased Destiny. Chapter 14. Hiding. Merigold's plan to get back her fur had to wait some more time, as seekers visited Uriel's estate before breakfast. One guy tried to get something out of the mare and the second woke up bum. The girl was so surprised that anyone could came to her so early in the morning that she forgot to dress up. Still sleepy, sat on her bed and was yawning instead of answering questions of the seeker. Merigold used telepathy to give her instructions, what she should say. The interrogator did not have any talent to magic, so he didn't feel energy disturbance connected to conversation of minds and was not perceptive enough to notice unusual movement of Hume's eyeballs. He asked his questions and waited for to start talking. Etienne considered this one of the worst questioning she had seen.
That day, I was waiting for Merigold in front of the School of Magic. We usually meet after my classes to eat something and practice magic some more. She was late, but I didn't leave the school of my own. Merigold is my bodyguard as well, and I was not allowed to wander on my own then.
I was late because I had to interrogate another ruffians. I remember now. Before acting personally, Jared hired band of thugs to kidnap Uma. I killed some of them. Rest sent to the dungeon. That day I saw someone resembling Thug's principal standing close to so I reacted.
Yes, that man came to me. He asked about an inn or a restaurant. I don't remember. I showed him the way, but he insisted I walk with him. I refused. I said that we can go all together as soon as Goldie joins. He grabbed my hand and pulled me. Then Merigold used her plans to immobilize him, and we went to my house. Merigold said she needs something from there.
A glimpse of Jared's memories was enough to understand that I am dealing with a criminal. While walking to Uriel's house, I learned more about Jared's crimes. I asked Uriel for permission to kill Jared or send him to the palace, but he refused. He insisted that Jared should be judged here in Cyntra. He asked me to deliver Jared to the guardhouse, and I did it.
The seeker looked at Umi as if he was unsure if he should ask about something else. Apparently, he had no idea what to do next, because he thanked for cooperation and left Um's room. Etienne felt man's presence just behind the wall, so she stopped from talking. Instead, she described the ingredients required for the potion of invisibility. Only when the seeker left the residence, Merigold explained to what happened the night before.
Oh, thank you so much. I knew we can count on you, but it is a shame that scouts didn't find anything useful. Without you, they didn't even know if Jared is in Cyntra or not. So, what is the plan for today? After we eat breakfast, of course.
I need to recover my winter clothes and buy magical chalk to create barriers surrounding your house. After that, I teach you how to create few of the most useful potions: potion of invisibility, mixture of power regeneration, and healing potion. During the night, I meet seekers again and check how they are doing.
Why do you say seekers and not scouts? Is it their name?
Scouts is a common name for palace spies, while seekers is the official one.
The next day, Etienne changed one of the seekers into with an illusion spell. He was supposed to walk around as a bait, while two more were waiting for anyone willing to kidnap the pretender. One of the seekers was looking for a mine, and their commander had one lead he wanted to investigate on his own. Merigold was glad that whatever that lead was, it was not connected to The girl spent days and nights inside her residence and was practicing magic as much as she could. During the day, Etienne was guarding or looking for Jared. During the night, she stayed close to the girl, except for a short meeting with the seekers, which took place either in Uriel's old house, either the current one. She checked the inn, where Jared hadn't been seen for a long time, more than 3 months for sure. The bartender informed her about enormous debts of Jared, owed to many rich and influential people of Cyntra. She learned that the previous owner of Jared's hovel was murdered on the first night after the purchase, so currently no one wants to buy it, even at a low price. Interested by the story told by the bartender, Etienne visited Jared's house. The condition of the mansion of the most dangerous Cyntrian bandit left much to be desired. It wasn't just the wooden walls whose splendor was long behind them. The doors were barely holding onto their frames. Only sharp fragments of glass were left from the windows, and the roof was clearly missing straw. Inside, the house looked equally neglected. Broken furniture, moldy blankets, and a collapsed staircase. The floor bore traces of fire and also multiple waterlogging. Tian looked around again, but nothing in the abandoned house caught her eye. So she went outside, taking a break from the moldy air. After unsuccessful search, Etienne returned to Ume, where nothing had happened as well. In the morning, Etienne asked to take a walk together. Locked in her residence, girl was more than happy to accompany her teacher. First, however, Etienne covered with an illusion.
Where are we going?
Outside the city. I'm looking for a tunnel through which Jared gets inside. For this, I need a research spell belonging to the Earth domain. Not a very useful spell. I've barely used it a couple of times, but now it will come in handy.
How did it happen that you lost your power? That you now wield only death?
To distract the girl from asking uncomfortable questions, Etienne pointed to a nearby clearing. She wanted to start there. First, she casted the binding curse. Observed her to learn a new spell, but she was more interested in frozen grass, leaves, and protecting herself from icy wind.
You don't trust anyone, do you? You know that I won't turn you in.
I promise to answer your question, but not today. I think that celebration of solving the Jared's case would be a good opportunity for that.
Again, Etienne felt like the busiest and lowest-paid palace mage who could count on little more than a daily ration. She smiled. She wasn't even getting that this time. If it weren't for concern, she would have had to rob other people's pantries. Etienne knelt on the frozen ground. She would rather reclaim her old life, full of adventures and glorious battles, instead of pretending to be a hunter, teacher, or dyer. The more often she used spells, the less appropriate all other activities seemed to her. In contrast, when she wasn't using magic, she was enjoying life. Ordinarily, like a teenager, she made plans for the future. The rupture between her two personalities, her two ways of life, increasingly bothered Etienne, on par with the inability to use the spells she knew well. For a moment she wondered, which spells do she miss the most? The fireball? Flying? A fiery vortex? Breathing underwater? Summoning of weapons? Transportation spells? Healing ones? The fire magic was always her favorite. Ice one was her second best.
We are lucky that I have control over Earth, aren't we?
Etienne's hissing made the girl realize that she should at least pretend to be very concerned about the whole situation and Jared's capture. However, before Yum assumed a slightly more serious expression, the death mage elaborated on her statement.
I would be lucky if you could do magic. You would have found Jared yourself, and I would have sat on the bench in front of my house and watched the clouds passing over my head. There is nothing here. We'd move on.
Do you want to go around the whole city?
Etienne nodded her head. Again, she was accompanied by an irritation that was hard to explain, the source of which she could not identify. Everything annoyed her, and most of all. She stopped in mid-step. It wasn't Ome who irritated Etienne. Maybe the incompetent seekers, unable to find Jared. Maybe her own limitations. Kneeling on the ground again, Etienne stood up after a moment and continued walking without looking back. Pretended she didn't hear the waspish tone in her older friend's remarks. Merigold's help was too valuable for her to weigh petty annoyances. She tried to empathize with the former teacher's bitterness at being torn away from her life against her will to save family from defamation. After they themselves rejected her advice and said goodbye to her in rather rude way.
And the scouts? Why are they doing nothing?
The seekers sit in those bushes and await a magical miracle.
Being watched by unknown men did not appeal to Yum. The girl drilled the surrounding bushes with her eyes, but saw no one in them.
Are they really here? Or were you joking? It's not polite to make fun of the younger ones.
Excuse me? Just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not there. Wait, I found something. A tunnel running into the forest. I was right.
Great job. I knew we can count on you. Could you dig the entrance for us?
Jumped up and squealed, and Etienne only sighed. She expected the squad commander to appear after she found the right tunnel.
Always the same. How about grabbing shovels, eh? Do everything for them and they will rake in the praise. What rank did this mission get?
A 1. Why do you ask? Do you also collect points? Mention you in the report?
Only a 1? What a disappointment. Mother Earth, hear my voice. Control.
The information about the report reminded Etienne that she must erase Seeker's memory before parting ways with them. That is, if she wanted to continue living the peaceful life of a hunter of local bandits. There was a Seeker who rushed down the trail, indicated by death as well. The difficulties everywhere.
You didn't say you belonged to the family.
Because I don't. I left the palace after completing few missions only. I prefer being a mage than running after troubles. Poison ivy. I'll walk 'em home, get some sleep and join you. Don't attack without me.
The scouts slipped into the dark hole, and gave the impression that she felt like following them. As a prophylactic measure, the death mage silenced the apprentice so that she could not pronounce the incantation.
I know you dream of such adventures, but the risk is too great. If it were someone else, someone who does not wish you dead, I would take you with me. Too bad you haven't mastered telepathy. I would have worried a little less about you. You know, it takes a while to learn how to enchant with gestures alone, but nice try. You have talent, girl. It's just too bad it's not to the death.
An icy wind, in which the first snowflakes could be felt, urged the girls walking towards house. Frozen fingers made Merigold realize that she should take care of her winter closet. First of all, pick up a fur gloves from Lena. In the past, she didn't care about such trivialities. Magic supported her in every situation, helped her survive in even the worst conditions.
Fire vortex. It used to replace my coat. I miss my mount. Have you ever ridden a Pegasus? No. An unparalleled pleasure of flight. Maybe Artos is still alive. Pegasi live up to 200 years, you know. When we parted, mine was reaching 100, so I have a chance to get it back. If I go to the Crystal Palace...
After some thought, Etienne decided that fire spells would be most useful to her. Possibly a desert-heated Nathan-wielding ice magic. For her part, was intrigued why Merigold, constantly mentioning the Crystal Palace, couldn't go there. And when did she manage to complete several missions, since she spent the last 2 years dyeing fabric?
Anti-teleportation. No one will teleport to you. No one will kidnap you through a portal, but you won't be able to escape that way yourself either, so don't leave home until I return. Should anything threaten you, drink the elixir of invisibility. Before I go, I ask Torden to keep an eye on you. Whatever happens, he can protect you. Remember the symbol. The bound curse will work worse at a distance, but it may save my skin. When it's gone, draw a new one, okay?
Nee nodded her head. She didn't fancy the company of a grumpy old mage. Merigold's worried monologue irritated her a bit, but she patiently endured it. The teacher had never behaved like this before.
I would love to stay here with you, but then the Seekers will question Jared, which will not end well for your family. Please be careful. Anything happens, I can resurrect you.
After the conversation was over, Etienne left me with Uriel and went to Torden's place, thinking about her former life, especially the two scouts who once accompanied her.